Knudson.
Tursky.
This is Two Guys Talking Golf.
What's going on, man?
Well, we need an update. How'd you play today?
For 8 holes, I played really well. As we discussed like 2 weeks ago with our nemesis holes, the old boy got me again. Old number 8, made double, and didn't even hit one OB. Like, I played it, I was like, screw this.
I thought you were going to play it smart this time.
I did. I played drive way out right, and then I actually got behind a couple trees, which wasn't a big deal. Punched it on out, and it was wet, so it didn't quite get as far as I wanted to go, but whatever. Had 175 in. Choked down 5-iron, flared it right, flat out laid the sod over 2 chips, barely got it on the green, made 7. So,
thanks for coming out.
Yep. So that's a nice. That was a 40 right there. So.
Okay, improved.
Yeah, I mean,
better.
I hit the ball pretty well. I just I didn't make a ton of putts, and then that hole, I just, whatever. But I hit the ball solid though. The irons hybrid. We're all solid today, so can't argue with that.
Did you make any equipment changes from last week to this week?
Oh, of course, yeah, for sure.
What'd you do?
I think so. This week, I think I went Cobra LTD X driver. With the UST Link gunmetal, and then I went Callaway Rogue ST Max with a Ventus Red as 3 wood. And then I went the new Tour Edge C722 hybrid. And then I went the Tour Edge Titanium 404 iron. The Titanium.
Oh my God!
Utility.
A lot of Tour Edge.
Yeah, those two. The both of which the utility iron I really like. The hybrid, I got it in the winter, hit it in the range. It was pretty solid, but I was like, let's take it out to the course. Let's give it a whirl. Because if not, I was going to take out one of the hybrids I already play all the time. So I was like, why not bring out something new? And then I played the P770s throughout the bag, and then I played the Mill Grind 3s. So
putter?
PXG Bat Attack.
Wow.
Yeah.
How do you like that?
I'll tell you what, it's pretty good. It's heavy. Like, they added the really heavy weights when I went down to the PXG thing when they kind of fit me into it. So it definitely is a little getting used to because it's like 370 grams. So it's a tank. Like but like I said, it's super stable. I mean, I hit one of the putts I hit off the toe. I was like, oh, it's toast. And I mean, it's just like nestled up right to the hole. I was like shocked that it got close. That's
the one with the like little mini wings on it, right?
Yeah, it looks like an Odyssey number 7 for the most part.
You always like a putter with wings.
Gotta fly, baby. Gotta let the boy fly. So, so like I said, I hit it good today. I just couldn't get the ball in the hole for I made 1 birdie on 2. I made like a, 7-footer up a hill. Made that, and then other than that, I just didn't get it in the hole for birdies when I had a lot of birdie putts.
Well, crab cakes, football, and the Wells Fargo Championship. That's what Maryland does.
Just what Maryland does, baby.
So I was live from the Wells Fargo Championship this week at TPC Potomac at Avenel Farms instead of Quail Hollow. It's usually down in Charlotte, Quail Hollow. I do like that Charlotte area. They got a good little downtown, a couple nice little food spots, but the DC area is pretty cool. I got 2 special shout-outs.
Really?
Before we get started. Yep.
And I'm a big fan of the D.C. area, too. Like, D.C.'s a cool place.
Yeah. USA, baby. So 2 special shout-outs. First, Greg Moore, our photographer.
Yep.
If you like all of the equipment photos in the Golf WRX forums on Golf WRX, you have Greg Moore to thank. It was his birthday this week.
Oh, was it? I did not know that.
Yep.
All right.
I won't reveal his age, but he's still young and spry. So big shout out to Greg Moore. We partied it up in the media center.
had an ice cold Diet Coke, and
we were just ripping desserts. I stopped and got like an assortment of cakes for him, and then in the media center they also had like these mini cakes that were so good. They had like granola in there somewhere, just absolutely going to town on them. Some whipped cream on top. Yeah, they're delicious.
I like it.
I had a red velvet cake.
Ooh,
no big deal.
Not my necessarily favorite, but I'll eat some red velvet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's definitely overrated.
100%.
Had a couple tiramisus.
Yeah.
And whatnot. So happy birthday to him. And the second one goes out to my sister, Kristen Tursky, who lives in Maryland. We stopped and got some dinner on Tuesday night.
Nice.
The restaurant we were eating at turned into a karaoke bar, like midway through.
Ooh.
And she's a little bit of a karaoke fiend, and she went for "Gangsta's Paradise" by Coolio. Tore the place up.
I'm about to say, you better bring the energy. Like, you better bring the energy.
She brought so much energy. Everyone there, it was like kind of a quiet Maryland bar, and then she gets on the mic and just turns it all the way up to 10. They were on like 3. They had no idea what was coming.
Wow. Did you get up there and sing a little tune?
Nah.
Well, what if someone, life or death situation, you have to sing a karaoke song? What do you pick?
That's a great question. I think I have a couple different like go-tos. I think Third Eye Blind, Semi-Charm Life.
Ooh.
I think that's always a pretty good one. Cisco Thong Song, of course. That'll get the party going. What about you? This could be an interesting answer because there's a lot of different ways, I bet, that you would go at a karaoke situation.
Yeah, typically I'm like a Tom Petty, like Free Fallin' type guy. And it doesn't fit me. I can't sing. I can't carry a note in a bucket.
I was going to say, that's a tough one to...
Yeah, because you got to be like that free...
Oh, God.
Yeah, it's bad. And then the only time that I can remember getting up and actually singing karaoke that I wasn't part of like just a huge group of people, I sang... It was like a Neil Young song. And it was a terrible choice. Didn't read the room at all. Nobody was getting down for that. And I don't know if it was Old Man or... something like that, but it was a Neil Young song that was terrible. It was a bad choice.
Is it like a depressing song?
It just had it was just kind of one of those, like, strum along, so it was just not right.
Karaoke's all about reading the room. Like,
100%.
Who are you with? What's the vibe of the room? Do you have to change the vibe, or are you riding it?
Yeah.
Big part of karaoke.
I have a friend of mine, one of my really good friends, her dad was an old Motown singer back in, like, late 70s, 80s.
Okay.
And he goes into karaoke joints and just destroys them.
That's unfair. That's like a PGA Tour player going in to play like a charity scramble.
Oh, the dude just throws down.
That's the ultimate ringer.
Like any type of Motown, Sinatra, whatever, he just kills it.
Yeah.
And then people we went one time to a place and people were like, no, take my spot. Like, go up and sing another one. Like
do my song, please.
Yeah, and then people were like, I'm not going after
myself.
that. Yeah. Dude's a killer. Karaoke Mike.
All right, so karaoke aside, we got some golf equipment topics this week.
All right.
And it's kind of packed up, so...
Really?
Let's get right to it. Big news this week, starting off hot, Rory McIlroy re-signs with TaylorMade. So 5 years ago, he signed with TaylorMade. Obviously, we know now that it was a 5-year deal. We talk a lot on this show about, like, what's the year, what's the price tag... et cetera, et cetera. So we kind of got an answer 5 years later that it was a 5-year deal. So he re-signed again this week. Really no shocker there. Like, TaylorMade's not going to let him go. The only way that deal would fall through is if either Rory thought he could get, like, way more money somewhere else or he was just unhappy with the clubs. But I wouldn't see why that's the case.
No.
And he is the defending champion this week.
Wow. Yeah, you're right. Oh, you're right. Yeah, I kind of forgot that he won this last year.
I know.
Wow.
I know.
But yeah, I think, like, remember when Nike shut it down and right before he signed with TaylorMade, like, everybody thought he was going Callaway because he had a ton of Callaway product in the bag.
Yeah.
And then he
I think he probably thought he was going to Callaway because he did have, he had the custom blade irons and a couple other Callaway clubs. So we were all like, all right, Callaway it is. And then.
Yep. At the last minute, he kind of switched. And I think if this would have been the same case, like getting this close to now the extension, I think we would have seen maybe some other products being at least tested or tried out there on the range, and we never saw anything. So I think this was pretty much a done deal, from the start.
I don't think he considered switching companies. If anything, maybe he would go the free agent route. But once TaylorMade made him those Roars Protos, I bet that was the selling point. But he did like the golf ball too. I remember what was it at the Masters? He was kind of upset about his previous ball spinning a little bit too much, so he started doing like some off-season testing. He liked the lower spin of the TP5X, and I think that was really the selling point. Back then.
And those guys, too, when they find a ball they like, they typically stick with it. I mean, that's what we've heard from a lot of tour pros over the years is the ball is one of the hardest things to change in the bag. And, yeah, if he's got the ball dialed in, to then go switch it up and play, a Titleist or Callaway or wherever he would go, I mean, again, we probably would have seen him hitting some of that stuff already on the range in anticipation to go somewhere. Even if it was free agent, I think we would have started to see some stuff leak into the bag. But, I mean, he's kind of like now kind of a TaylorMade guy. Like, you almost forget he was a Nike guy and then before that a Titleist guy. Like, you kind of almost forget because he's been with TaylorMade what now seems way longer than 5 years.
I know. Just to your point about how difficult it is changing golf balls, and I would agree, like, especially a PGA Tour player who's so dialed in on not only pitch shots and putting, but iron shots and driver. Like, they're not necessarily looking to change the golf ball, but a lot of them do struggle changing into like a new model. When a company brings out the new model, you see a lot where it's like, what golf ball is he playing? He's still playing like the 2017 model or something that came out like 2014, or it's some sort of prototype that they've been playing for years and years. Like, it is tough to change a golf ball, especially when you're that dialed. I think for people like us, it's like, if I reach in the bag and I grab like a Callaway, TaylorMade, Strixon, Titleist, like whatever I grab, it's like, all right, like I'm just trying to hit the ball, within the tree line, or in Arizona within the desert line.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I play like today. I played TP5 all day today, and I like that ball. It's a great ball in the wind. It's just overall a good performer. But you're right. For me, like if you were able to go out and say, hey, play a couple rounds of Pro V1 or a couple rounds of Strixon, a couple rounds of whatever, I don't think you'd see a difference in score. Like, they're all going to be pretty much the same. It's just, they're all high-end tour balls. So, but for those guys, like we said, when you're talking about these delicate chip shots, wedge shots, and then you even get in longer in the bag, they're so dialed in that, that change of spin or trajectory or whatever could really affect what they're trying to do.
Yeah, I think once you get the urethane cover on a golf ball, like, you have to play urethane. You know what I mean? If you want to maximize spin, distance, control, like, you're not going to want to play a cheap Sterling golf ball. I understand why people do. I mean, it's a price thing, but once you get into urethane, I can't say it's all the same because we know that it's not. Spin and launch and just flighting the golf ball can definitely be somewhat different. But for these guys, I would say, it matters a little bit more to them. I'm just happy hitting the fairway and the green at this point. So
same here.
You can make a golf ball that hits the fairway and the green every time I'm in.
I'm good. Yeah, I'll take it.
So another Rory was in the news. Sabatini. Did you see his golf bag?
I did. It looks like somebody took a display rack from the pro shop and put some wheels on it and a little pocket, and he went out there. Like, it's a crazy looking device. Yeah.
So it's the Colt Grand with Golf GM technology. I had to read it just to make sure that I don't spread any misinformation here. Definitely high end.
Yeah, they're
quite expensive.
Aren't they like $2,000, something like that?
Yeah. And you can get like the golf cart technology. It's not a push cart. It's like remote control. It's pretty cool. I got like they showed me it. They gave me the rundown. I think it was like a year back now, I guess, and it's really cool. Like, the technology is such that the CG sits pretty low, so you have like really nice control over it. And I think that's the whole point of putting the clubs upside down. Now, my concern, and I'm sure his caddy's concern, would obviously be weather.
Yeah,
like if it's raining and you have the grips, standing up like that, and they're not covered. Obviously, like, it comes with a cover. But we know how inconvenient it is to have like a rain cover on your golf bag, even when it's like a slight drizzle.
Pain in the butt.
So I get it though.
Yeah, because
it's cool. It's sleek.
It's kind of crazy looking. It didn't somebody. I want to say like somebody on like the European tour or something like that had one like end of last year, something like that, maybe early this year. Yeah, and I remember everybody seeing it, and his was like a stand version. Like, you could set it down, it had legs.
That's what Rory's is.
Oh, is it? I thought the photo I had, it had, like, I saw like some wheels or something on it, but but like, I remember like just looking into it, and I was like, this thing's like $2,000, like whatever. It's crazy. It's like,
it's an expensive golf bag.
And it's just wild. Like you said, that is interesting because like, you never thought, like, oh, yeah, all those clubs are out exposed to the elements. Because they just, like, looks like they just snap in. And, yeah, like, you got to have some type of cover to keep those things dry. Like, or, yeah, that's kind of wild. I didn't think about that, but you're right. That's an interesting problem on that.
And you can't see the sole of the golf club.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like
picking it.
It'll probably get confusing 6, 7, 8 iron, but it's like, you know, you use the golf bag for long enough, you're going to get used to where all your clubs are.
True.
But
true.
Those are just some of the issues that I see. Otherwise, it's like the most high-tech bag ever.
Yeah.
And the like push cart part of it, it folds really easily. It's super light, and it's got some serious speed and some nice control too. I was having a great time messing around with that. I think it was during the U.S. Open. We kind of went down to a park, and we were just letting it rip, and I was taking some photos and stuff. Yeah.
Your boy here uses an electric cart with a remote control. So
do
I
you?
Know I use the Motocaddy.
What brand? Or do you not want to shout it out?
Nah, I use the Motocaddy M7 remote.
Okay,
and
so you're in that world. You live that lifestyle.
Dude, I love that thing. Like, honestly, like, I look forward to using it because it's just fun. And honestly, like, the looks you get on the golf course are hilarious. Like, people just watching it drive down the fairway as you're walking behind it or whatever. It's awesome. But
so when you play in the golf league, are you taking the electric cart out, or do you guys?
Yeah, I walk.
So you guys walk.
You can walk or ride. Depends. Some of the guys will ride. Some guys walk. I walk. Like, it's probably split pretty close to 50-50 of who walks and rides.
I feel like if people in my group are riding, I typically ride. Like, do you get uncomfortable when they ride away and you're like, all right, meet you guys up there?
No, it's like
you just like walking?
I mean, I'll throw the speaker on there, and like if I'm riding with guys who are riding, I'll put the speaker on there. I'll walk next to it, let it have a little, some tunes, and I'll walk out to my ball. Today was a little bit country, a little country bumpkin-ish. Started off with, no, it's not your jam, but today was a little more country. Some days it's a little more of the '90s rock era. I've been big run to like the Pearl Jam radios, those type of stations.
I could get down with that.
Yeah.
Is that like Nirvana?
Yep.
Okay.
Throw a little Nirvana in there, a little Stone Temple Pilots, a little Smashing Pumpkins.
Stone Temple Pilots. Never heard of them.
Whoa. All right. Well, maybe I have to have another podcast where Tursky reacts to old music from my childhood.
I would do that.
That'd be great.
But then you have to react to like some of the songs that I listen to.
I think
we got to keep it fair.
Yeah, we got it offline. We're coming up with our next.
We just got to have the edit
right
part ready.
A lot of beeps.
I'm pretty sure that would get us in like some serious copyright infringement territory if we actually play the song.
I mean, there's a lot of channels that do it. It'd be interesting.
Yeah, and I think
we'll
think they always have like ways that they have to work around it.
True.
Either way, another big name in the equipment news. He has not been playing particularly well, which is probably why he's in the equipment news.
I'm about to say, I'm pretty sure I know who this is.
Ricky Fowler going back to KBS Tour C-Taper S Plus 125s.
Yep.
So it was about a 2-year experiment with the Mitsubishi MMTs. Went back to Old Faithfuls.
Yeah.
Have you experimented with the MMTs?
Yeah, I've hit the MMTs, and I've actually got a set of C-Taper S Plus 125s over, like, taped up as a set over there because they're a little firm for your boy here, a little too stout. Yeah, the MMTs are really good. They definitely have. It's funny because like I've hit a lot of graphite shafts. I'm a big fan of graphite shafts and irons, and it's pretty interesting how different each. Like if you go from like Fujikura to Mitsubishi, and you kind of go down the line of different graphite shafts. It's amazing how different they feel. But yeah, to me the MMTs kind of have that dynamic gold feel. They're pretty lively. They got a decent kick at impact. Where like the Fuji Pro 115 is a little more like Project X feeling. It's a little more stiffer profile and stuff like that. But the MMT is really good. I think they're a really solid offering, and I think graphite's coming, man. Like if you don't believe it, it's coming. Like the stuff out there is really, really good. It's getting better, and you're going to see, I think, more guys on tour playing that stuff real soon.
You know it's coming when guys on tour are thrown in the bag, because a lot of those guys are old school, high swing speed type guys. It's like you think it's just naturally they're going with steel, but not anymore, really. I don't know what the split is. Maybe I should do a couple interviews on that. See what the percentage split is. It probably still pretty low, but I bet it's higher than like the average fan consumer would think.
Oh, and I bet it's higher than, say, like 5-6 years ago. You know, if you went back and looked, I bet now there's way more.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's the graph away. But yeah, I mean, Ricky, and then he went kind of back to those black MBs, or at least still playing the black MB heads.
Yeah. He has those things pretty dimed out.
They're pretty sweet.
I don't know if you saw the photo I got.
Yeah,
that was
a little bit of silver.
Yeah.
He's just, I mean, the guy, like, and I love Ricky. Like, I really hope he can find it again. But the boy's just struggling, man. And I get it. Like, I've had heads. Like, my old Glory 3-wood was an XR16 with a Ventus red. And I remember I pulled it apart to use the shaft and something else, went on. And then I went back and I was, like, struggling. So I was like, I'm going to put that combo back together and I'll find the magic. And it wasn't quite there. And, I mean, I get it. When you're struggling, you're looking for anything, man. And hopefully, you know, maybe the C-taper brings something back for him.
It's just so surprising because, you know, I was going to take some photos of the golf shaft and ask Ricky about it a little bit. So I'm standing there waiting, and he's hitting iron after iron after iron. I think he was hitting maybe the 8, and he's just dumping these things in a bucket. Like, he's hitting them so crispy. His swing looks good. He looks confident. And I was looking at his results because I was writing a little story up about his changes, which you can find on golfwx.com. He's just been missing a lot of cuts.
Yeah.
I think he's played 12 events this season. He finished T3 at CJ Cup, and other than that, he hasn't finished inside the top 40.
Man, that's brutal.
But as far as sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
No. I mean, it just stinks, man, to see a guy who's, you know, I mean, still fairly young, still has a lot of time on tour if he can get it turned around and all that. And it just sucks also to see kind of the hate for him. Like, you know, the guy's struggling. Like, it's not like he's sitting at home just like kicking his feet up, like, whatever, like not practicing.
So surprising he gets that hate. He's like the nicest guy ever.
That's what I've heard.
Literally.
That's what I've heard. I mean, I met him once and I kind of caught him off guard, so I'm not going to get, like, he wasn't like crazy, like bro-hugging me.
He ducked you, right?
A little bit, but I get it. Like, I kind of came onto the truck, like, unannounced, whatever. Like,
he big timed you.
Yeah. So, but no, I mean, like, the guy gets a lot of hate. Like you said, I think the guy's a super nice dude. I haven't heard anything wrong, and it's just, I mean, I don't think anybody doesn't want him to come back. Like, he moves the needle a little bit. Kids love him.
The game's better with Ricky involved.
Hell yeah.
But yeah, so I talked to him a little bit about the shafts and just why he switched. Basically, you know, going back to something he had plenty of success with. He was starting to notice that the spin was actually a little bit too low. Like, he originally went to the MMTs to kind of lower that spin, put in a little bit lower of a window, and I think he went a little bit too much that way. So he was looking for a little bit more kick on that, and that's pretty much it. I mean, I think he's kind of just, in general, going back to a lot of things that he was comfortable with in the past. Not the putter, though. Did you check the putter out?
Yeah, the putter is very interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I was shocked at, like, not shocked that he put it that he necessarily had. So it's I don't remember the model name, but it's a Cobra.
Stingray.
Yeah,
Stingray 20, but it's not really.
So, it's a Cobra mallet, and it's not like just a tiny small little half moon mallet. I mean, it's a intricate mallet, but the biggest thing is the face. Like, the face is.
I know. Yeah.
If anybody knows that the retail Cobra putters have an aluminum insert in them made by, or the technology is from SIK Golf, SIK, and it's basically a descending loft. So there's little sections in the face, and each one's a different wall. 4, 3, 2, 1. Yep. So they basically, if you hit it a little low in the face, the ball's going to come off, just as would if you hit it a little higher in the face. But that technology is something that they partner with SIK, and his putter does not have that.
It looked like it did, though.
I know it's got horizontal lines in it, but it's all black.
It might have the SIK technology, just not the aluminum insert, because that insert is really soft, and I don't think Ricky's really been a huge insert guy throughout his career.
Yeah,
so I think he probably prefers that milled, solid, maybe higher pitched kind of sound and feel. But it's pretty close to what a Stingray 20, like the retail putter, looks like. It just doesn't have the wings on it. He says he doesn't like the CG being too far back. He says it kind of makes it feel like the putter opens up a little bit on the backswing and then never really closes on the way through. So he took the wings off, and I guess it's pretty easy for Cobra to make prototype putters these days because they're just 3D printing them. So you do a little magic on the computer, change up the data points, the XYZ coordinates.
The XYZ.
Do a little here and there, and he can basically get whatever he wants whenever he wants. So the 3D printing process really makes things easy, especially for someone like Ricky who can control like the actual prototype that he gets. Obviously, consumer can't really go on there and just start designing their own putter, but Ricky can. And it's not going to take
right.
and it's not going to take 6 months for like Ben Showman to be in the tour shop at Cobra, welding things and melting steel and all the sorts of stuff that he does back there. Back in the day with Bryson. So he got a prototype made pretty quick. He says he got it 2 weeks ago. Was messing around with it at home. He had been playing TaylorMade Spider. It was the GT though, right? It wasn't a regular.
Yeah, I think the GT.
He's playing the new GT version, which does have wings. Maybe that's why he didn't really continue on with the putter. I don't think he likes the wings and the back CG, according to what he told me. So he had Cobra make him up a mallet, got exactly what he wanted, and we'll just see. New putter.
Yeah.
Maybe
you're right.
Ricky.
Hopefully. Well, I don't know. I saw something as I just got home on Instagram that was him draining a 80-yard shot for a bogey. So that's not promising. But no, you're right. Like, so looking back at the face now, like I'm looking at it again, like, and kind of zooming in on it. You're right. Some of that sick technology might still be there. Like there's like the three main deep vertical grooves, horizontal grooves, and then there's a bunch of tiny ones in each little section. So maybe it's a modified version of the sick face. Like maybe for him the lofts are slightly different, and they just milled them in or something like that. But there's definitely something to that face that isn't just a traditional straight flat milled face. But it looks pretty good without the wings. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I don't know if I prefer it, but it does look kind of sleek without the wings.
I mean, I could see them coming out with a Ricky Fowler prototype somewhere in the near future. I'm sure they're like dying to do it. I'm sure Cobra wants to come out with a Ricky Fowler custom 3D printed putter. They're just waiting on him probably to settle on one of the models. I'm sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't have any information on that from Cobra or Ricky, but that would be my guess. If I was Cobra, that's what I would be doing. Just kind of waiting until he puts together like a nice couple tournaments and kind of settles on a Cobra putter, and then boom, slap like a nice orange and black colorway on it, come out with a custom head cover, limit them to like 500 or 1,000, boom.
And you're golden. Yeah,
easy money.
I think you're right. I mean, they had those irons, those Rev 33s that were ready for him to go, and all that stuff, and it just didn't pan out, and it's super unfortunate. But I think you're right. I think that, if he can find a little success with something and it sticks in the bag, and I'm not even saying that he wins, but he notches a couple top tens, things like that. I definitely could see where something limited edition, Ricky, whatever, is going to go in the bag. But on the other side, on the flip side, I could see where it doesn't. Like are they is Cobra a little scared after what happened with the Ricky Blades? Are they a little scared and they're going to maybe not do one right away and maybe wait for a while until, there's a proven track record of, okay, you're top 10 and top 5 and you're contending, you're doing all these, like maybe they wait a little bit just because, they did get a little burned with the blades.
Do you think they did?
No, they sold every set.
They probably sold every set.
But the marketing probably had to change like instantly. I mean, it went from a story to unfortunately a reverse story of him not using them, which is a bummer. But those things are still beautiful. I mean, they're still crazy good looking. But I'm marking down the time here so I can edit that out before it goes live tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Okay. So, did you see Billy Hurley's setup?
No, I saw his thing in the forum. I saw Billy Hurley, and I was like, I hadn't heard his name in a long time, so I was kind of excited to like kind of click on it and see what's going on with him. So I'm going to pull it up while you get into it.
That's what I was doing. I was kind of trying to to do a little segue here, but okay, so I got it now. So he's got a stealth driver, so that's brand new.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's about it for the brand new clubs. He's got an M2 2016 3-wood.
Oh, that's a great 3-wood though.
He's got a M4 3 hybrid with a little lead tape out on the toe. You gotta love that.
Yeah.
Then he's got an M1 2017 4 hybrid. And then this is the club really why I brought up the topic. Then he's got an Adams Pro Mini 23 degree.
Jeez, yeah, I remember those.
I mean, that is just a classic hybrid. And he's got the face worn out. I don't think he's changed that out since the club came out. What year did that come out? I mean, I guess I should look that up.
Oh man,
while you respond, I'll look up when the club came out.
It was a long time, man. That was a while ago because that was, I mean, right when Adams was in the thick of it, man. Like they were making. That's when they came out with like the XTD stuff. Mm-hmm. Like they had XTD Pro irons. I remember like Ernie Els was kind of
2014.
Pushing. Yeah, they were a while ago. But like I said, there was that the Pro Mini. There was like a Pro, and then there was like I think there was almost like 3 sizes or something like that. And this thing was tiny. But it was a huge hit. Like Golf WRX people, like forum members, were all about this thing, and they were in a ton of bags.
He's also got some J40 CV prototypes, Bridgestone.
Yeah, which aren't necessarily that new either.
No, they're super old, and they're prototypes, so you never really know like exactly what's going on. Under the hood. But I'm just reading the comments in the forum thread right now. This one guy says, J4, I'll shout out his name, Valtiel, Valtiel. He said, J40 CB prototypes, 3 different hybrids, lead tape, and a brand new stealth driver. Dude has to be a member on Golf WRX.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
He probably is too with that setup. That like is such a Golf WRX bag.
Yeah, I mean, but again, like out of all those old clubs, like you're like you got to play one of them, dude. I'll take that M2 3-wood all day. That thing was an absolute killer. The
whole M2 lineup, the driver too.
Yeah, the driver was super solid.
That's one of those drivers. If you have like a buddy hit you up and he's like, "Yo, I don't have $599 to drop on a driver. Like, what should I actually get?" That's one of those drivers I'll include in like what you should probably check out. It's like G400 Max.
2016
like an old
M2.
Yeah, 2016 M2, like an old Callaway XR. They were called, right? I think they came out in 2016 as well. So I guess 2016 was a pretty good year for drivers. But I think that's kind of like the list of older drivers that I bet you could get for like $120. Maybe not even. Like what does a M2 2016 go for right now?
Well, let's put it this way. So I just pulled up the eBay for the 3-wood, and the 3-wood you can get for just a little over $100.
Okay,
110, 120, depending on the condition. So they're still going fairly strong. Let's see what the old driver looks like here.
I'm seeing 149, 187, 140, 121.
Yeah, I mean, definitely under $180 you can get one in pretty good shape.
How do you feel about buying clubs off eBay?
Yeah, I'm a little sketchy nowadays, just because, especially now, like with so many, the ability to make counterfeit ones is so great. And now, even with some of that older stuff, there were so many fakes back then that they could just be kind of recycling themselves back in.
Yeah.
So I'm a little leery. I'm not going to lie. And also, I mean, we work in the golf business now, so I don't go searching eBay that frequently. But yeah, I'm still a little sketchy about it.
You're so pampered now. You're too good. Too good for the used market.
No, not at all. I mean, I tell people all the time, like if I didn't work at Golf WRX, I would be playing the used market like crazy because that's what I did before. Like when I was on Golf WRX as a member, I would just sell everything I had to try to get something a little newer, And then so like I would just always be in that constant flipping game. And but I think nowadays I would probably more like Craigslist, Facebook Marketplace it to see if I could find something first, because then I could walk up and see it, and if it looked funky, whatever, I'd be like, no, I'm good. Instead of having it shipped right to my house, but I might do that instead. At least if I could try to find what I'm looking for.
Yeah, I'm a big used club guy. I always recommend to my friends, just see if you could find something you like, because it's like if you're uncomfortable dropping 2 G's for a new setup, that's going to deter you even from playing golf, because it's like, well, I dropped all this money on these clubs, like my golf budget's about dry. It's like you could save a lot of money and kind of get in the wheelhouse. Like, I do encourage people, get fit, get like your shaft flex right, kind of get in the wheelhouse, and then just see what's on the secondary market. Go through someone certified. I'm not going to name drop because there's multiple different certified companies that sell like quality, trustworthy used golf clubs. I think with a simple Google search you could find those out for yourself. But I think that's a pretty good way of going about like saving some money. Drop like $50 on a fitting and then fill out the golf bag from there with their recommendations. I don't know if fitters would love me saying that, so I'm sorry. But I just think it's a good way to go about it. Like, you have to go to someone, especially if you have like no idea what you're doing. And honestly, sometimes for myself, it's even tough to fit. Like, you want a second pair of eyes and someone who knows what they're doing to be like, dude, that's nowhere near the right shaft for you. And you might be thinking like, I don't like this head. It's like, maybe you would if the shaft was way different,
True. Yeah. It's no, like I said, I mean, I'm a big fan also too. Like I said, I tell people all the time I'd be either playing 2-year-old stuff or stuff off the used market, like, or a combination, just because. Yeah, I mean, I'm it'd be a tough sell to my wife to say, hey, I need to go spend $3,000 to get a whole new bag of sticks. Like, I mean,
it's a lot of money.
Get away with, I mean, I could probably get away with, a driver every few years, or something like that, or set of irons every so long. But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be switching stuff out at the rate I do now. That's for sure.
I would say if you're like first really getting the bug, and it's like you're only playing clubs from 20 years ago, and like you do plan on playing maybe 2, 3, 4 times a week, it's like that can be a really nice investment, especially if you plan on staying with the game, and you're going to get 3 years, 4 years of use out of this set. Especially if you don't make any like drastic swing changes or body changes or speed changes, like you can get 3, 4, 5 years out of one set. So you can look at it as an investment, but you're probably not going to like actually ever get your money back on it.
No,
it's like buying a car. Once you drive it off the lot, it's over with.
It's done. Game over.
Yeah, that's why it's so great to buy used clubs, is because like the value drops on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's been a little slower recently because the game's so popular. But yeah, previously, I mean, I remember when drivers halfway through the season, when there were rumors of the newer thing coming out, the secondary prices on stuff just plummeted, and you could pick up like like right now you could pick up a Sim 2 for like dirt cheap, because everybody was they were done. Okay, it's over. Like, new thing came out, it's over. So, but nowadays stuff's a little stronger, and there's certain brands that always hold a little more value, like paying in Titleist, just because their stuff is 2-year cycles and stuff like that. But there's still some good deals to be had if you keep an eye out.
Speaking of new clubs that just dropped, I have no information on these. We just got photos of them, and now I'm talking about them on the podcast. I don't have any information yet. But Odyssey has some new 2-ball 11 tour line putters. You check those out? I feel like these are kind of up your alley. I don't know if you're a 2-ball guy, but I know this mallet style of head it's kind of you.
Head-wise, yes, definitely a big fan of the head size. I think the 11 shape is really good. I know some people will come out and say, hey, it looks like this or it looks like that. Listen, let's just get to the point. Putter makers kind of steal stuff from each other. Yeah. They're going to keep doing it. Get over it. I mean, just the way the life is going to be.
You can make the comments on, in the forums or Instagram or Twitter or whatever, but that's just, I mean, that's how the market is.
Yeah.
There's only so many, like, types of head styles, too. And if you're a putter maker,
Yeah.
I mean, you kind of want to give people what they want. And it's
Yep.
like, even if they have the same exact head shape, like the face is always going to be different, the neck's going to be a little different. Like every company's kind of going to put their own twist on it and have feel and sound be a little bit different. So, you know, it's not ridiculous
No.
for them to like kind of borrow here and there. It's still going to be different.
And everybody makes a Newport or Newport 2 style. If you want to say Answer 2 style.
Well, you
whatever.
have to.
Everybody makes that too. So to say that nobody's copying each other is whatever. Or to say one company's doing it less than others, I mean, whatever you want to say. But no, so I'm not a 2-ball guy. That's never been a putter that I've aligned really well. I totally understand. Like, it was the putter that changed putting in a sense in terms of how many original 2-balls were sold. But no, I love the 11 head shape. I love that kind of square, blocky look. I think that's really solid. I would probably go for one of the more just standard line models than the 2-ball. But the 2-ball line stuff is pretty cool. Like I said, I overall like the head shape. I like that, on tour, they've got a bunch of different hosels. They got the little slant neck. They've got the plumber's neck, the double bend. I mean, you can get, if you're a tour player, you can pretty much get whatever you want.
Oh, yeah, you can.
But no, they look really good. I think the 11 is a really good-looking line of putters. And then to have the ability to choose whatever alignment aid works best for you is just gravy.
Love it. That was our mallet putter expert talking right there. I'm a blade guy, so I can appreciate the new offering. It looks like the sole is a little bit different. Maybe they dropped like CG on it. That would be my guess. Just like kind of looking back at the previous version versus this version, it looks like just the sole is a little bit close to the ground. Maybe it sits a little more flush. I don't know if it's a weighting thing or just the way it sits, but that was kind of my first guess at it. No,
you're right. I mean, the original one I think had more. It was more recessed. Up in the bottom cavities.
Great word. That's the word I was looking for right there.
You like that?
Yeah, that was solid.
Well,
proud of you.
Thesaurus action. But yeah, these are definitely more flush, more streamlined on the bottom. And you're right. Maybe the artist trying to do something with weight to move it around. But like I said, I'm a big fan of the line. I think it's pretty solid. So, and they have the interchangeable weights like the Toulons and stuff like that up near the face.
All right, so I got 2 interesting little topics left.
Okay.
Actually, 3.
All right.
Okay, so we got. You know anything about Denny McCarthy?
Nothing.
Okay, he's a local guy in Maryland. He grew up in Tacoma Park. It's like 12 minutes down the road. So I just wanted to talk to him this week. I was kind of looking up his stats. He is unbelievable putter. I think he just got out on tour 2018, and he led the tour in strokes gained putting. Or he got.
Wow.
I can't remember exactly when. It was either 2019 and 2020 or 2018 and 2019. But he led the tour in strokes gained putting 2 years in a row, Denny McCarthy. Kind of flying under the radar there. So I asked him for his putting tips and kind of his mentality and just how he goes about things. So he plays a Scotty Cameron Go Low. He kind of flips and flops between the 5 and the 7, but the one constant is that it's always a Go Low. It's going to be a black finish head with a white line and deep milling on the face. He's played it since college. He went to the University of Virginia, and he grew up playing he was playing a Rossi, then he switched to a Spider, so he was kind of always in that little mid mallet, realm. And then he said he found the Go Low, and he was like, he literally said, "This is the putter I'm going to use forever." That's what he told me. And something about that just hit me. I was like, you really want to love your putter the way he loves his putter. When he looks down at it, he's just in love with it. It kind of gives him the confidence. It sits right. He keeps it consistent. For someone like you, switches all the time, I'm sure you're like, just shut up.
No, not at all. I mean, I've actually got an interesting comment about this, but let's keep rolling.
Go ahead.
No, so I there was a putter years ago. So when the Pro-Type, the Odyssey Pro-Type, so when they did the milled versions, they had no insert. The Pro-Type came out. there was like Newport heads and whatever. They made it up, and they made one called that was the number 7, but it wasn't a number 7 Odyssey. It was the Graham McDowell. It had a plumber's neck, little half mallet, half round mallet, and a buddy, like I saw it online, I thought it was really cool. A buddy of mine at the time back then was working on the Odyssey truck that went around to different clubs all over the country, doing putter fittings, building putters right on the truck. And I think I've told this story. He was in town. He was like, "Hey man, like come on out. Here's the club I'm at. Like I'd love to have you mess around. Love to see you." I couldn't make it. He was like, "Let me know if I can build you a putter. I'd love to build you a putter." I was like, "Cool man. I'd really like a Pro Type 7." Takes all my specs, builds it, leaves it at the shop or whatever. I go pick it up. And when I had that putter, I absolutely loved it. I putted really well with it. And that was one of those ones where I was like, well, this is kind of it. Like, I really do like this putter. Nothing else in the next couple of years really came out and did much for me. I sent it off. I had it rawed, so it's now just raw. There's no chrome on it. It's a little rusty. And I literally thought, like, this was going to be one of those putters that, like, I'm going to play for a decade plus, and just, like, there's nothing else. And then I started to work for Golf WRX, and that definitely went away. But I had a feeling like that for a little bit. Like I putted really well with it, and I was like, dude, this is my stick. Like I'm ready to go. And unfortunately, that's no longer the case. I still do have it sitting in a staff bag over there, and I do give it a round or two a year, but not near as much anymore.
See, I fall in love with the putters, and I don't want to take them out of the bag, even though I have like 40 putts around, and I'm kind of just forcing keeping it in. So that's where I'm at. But he had some other interesting things to say. I asked him his favorite putting drill, and he is a huge believer in the Tiger Woods gate drill, where you put a tee outside the toe, a tee outside the heel, and he'll just sit there on a straight uphill 5-footer for hours on end, and then he'll kind of go around the hole from that same distance, just grooving his stroke, so that you do that drill long enough, you're going to teach yourself how to hit the center of the face every single time, or else it's going to get real frustrating out there. So he was a big believer in that drill, and he also puts down an alignment stick, because even for one of the best putters on the PGA Tour, he says if his stance gets a little bit open, his stroke just gets wipey, and he'll just leave the blade open, miss short right. So he really emphasizes alignment. And then I was just kind of asking about, like, say you have a 20-footer, how do you go about it? Like, what's your process? And not super uncommon, but he picks a intermediate target, like a divot or an imperfection, discoloration, something like that. He's aiming at that target at the top of the arc of the putt, and he's putting along that line. But interestingly, he doesn't take a practice stroke, but he does line up. He black Sharpies, on the side of his golf ball. But when he puts the ball down, he doesn't have the entire line facing up. Like he tilts it forward towards the target. So half of the ball is completely white, half of the ball has the line on it. And he's like, yeah, I mean, I don't want to be like obsessed with the line. I want it there as a reference. But then from there, I'm kind of putting like I'm an artist. Like, ooh. He's big on the art form of putting, not the science of it. Kind of just awakening like his inner athlete. He was making comparisons to basketball, where you kind of see what you got to do. You take your target and you just let your hands and body and the inner athlete react to it. And he does the T drill to kind of train himself on the mechanics of the stroke, so that he's hitting center every time. But when he's actually hitting the putt, he's kind of letting his mind go and awakening that inner artist. I thought that was pretty interesting. I think that's a great mentality.
Yeah.
It's just, for us, I just know how it goes. It's like you miss a couple really bad, then you start getting really far in your head, and you're not free-flowing anymore. Then you're just putting tight. But he's like, you really got to have fun with it. Just try to make every putt and let it be more free-flowing than like kind of tightening up, because that is when you hit your worst putts, is when you're a little tight and you're like, oh my god, I hope I don't 3-putt from 12 feet. That would be embarrassing. Where he's kind of telling you, just be confident, have fun with it, and react to your target, and just get like obsessed with the process, not obsessed with the results.
Yeah, I think that's pretty. I think that there's a lot of truth to that a lot of amateurs can take away, because I think we all see, the pros on tour, lining up putts and lining up putts and lining up putts and going through routines and motions and all that. And really, golf is one of the few sports that we all probably played, as we grew up, that you had time to do those type of things. Like you mentioned, like if you played basketball, you just shot the ball. Like there wasn't time to like make sure every finger was on correctly and hold it. Like you didn't have that time. And like if you played football, like you got the ball, you threw it, or you just caught it. Like, and granted, those are different sports, but you never had the time to do those things, and you were able to train your body to do them well. And you played these sports and all that. And then golf, it's like stop everything and get super, granular on each little item of your swing and I think there's something to that like, yes, you don't just walk up and hit the ball between your legs and on a 20-footer like you don't care, but I think there's something to be said to like, hey, line up your ball, get the target that you want to hit, and then just walk up and hit it, because whether you take 25 practice strokes or whether you take none, the outcome could be the same or very close. So I'm not a big practice swing guy when I putt. I'm not a line user, except on maybe like if it's like a 5-footer that I kind of need to make for par, and there's a little pressure, whatever you're playing, 2-man game or something. Okay, maybe I'll line up like a 5-footer, 4-footer, just to make sure I hit it center. But I don't take practice swings. I walk up, I just pretty much get the putter behind the ball and like let's roll, and I hit it. And I kind of do something similar, because I think if I do too much, I'm going to get in my own head.
Yeah, I mean, I just always stole Tiger Woods' practice routine. Two strokes, couple looks, and then putt to the picture, which is kind of similar to what Denny's saying. Basically, putt to the picture. A lot of the best putters putt like really quickly. Like Snedeker comes to mind, Aaron Baddeley comes to mind. Denny putts super quick, and these are all like top putters who aren't giving themselves time to like really, really, really overthink it. Like you were talking about, you really want to be more reactionary and athletic, and I think your hands and your feel really improve by going in with that mentality. Now we've talked way too much about putting. Did you want to say one more? It's starting to bum me out. I haven't putted well recently, so.
For me, but I'm like, I don't take practice swings. I just walk up and hit the ball. Like I don't take that much time. Like I walk up, I pull I get the yardage, I pull the club, maybe I kind of look to see if I can tell the breeze, and then it's go time. Like let's rock.
I'll tell you this: I make more 3-footers just stepping up and not thinking about it than I do lining it 100%. Up and walking 360 around the hole.
Darn right.
Okay,
something to it.
So let's get into a cool little topic. I know we both love the Nike VR Pro Limited. There's another one out there. I found another guy. Yep. And there's a cool little connection actually with Scotty Scheffler. Let me just bring up these quotes real quick. So Max McGreevy. You may not know Max McGreevy, but he's a Strixon staffer. He has mostly Strixon through the bag, but he's a Nike VR Pro Limited 5-wood. I just saw that little smirk on your face. I love it.
I'm pulling it up right now.
So he was saying over like quarantine, basically like the height of COVID, his roommate Grant Hirschman. So he had a bunch of Nike VR Pro Limited fairway woods that he got made up at the oven back in the day. So he had a bunch laying around. Max got curious, wanted to hit it, and basically fell in love with it on the spot. Now, what's funny about this Grant Hirschman, apparently he's the plug on these fairway woods because Scotty Scheffler was playing a club that Grant gave him.
Really?
He was playing one of his Nike VR Pros. Yeah, after he cracked his original, Scotty, he got a backup from Grant, apparently.
Wow. So Grant just hoards them in his basement or whatever.
Yeah. So I was like, you're a pretty young kid. That's a pretty old club. Like, how did it end up in the bag, and what do you actually like about it? Like, why are you playing this club from back in the day? It's obvious like you weren't playing it as a junior, I guess. And he was like, no. But I just really like that old school look. And he's like, a lot of the new technologies on the fairway woods, they just literally go too far. And he's like, I'm not even a guy, I'm not like a super high swing speed guy. I don't hit the ball too far. It's just yardage gapping wise, it's not realistic for me to have a 5-wood that goes like 10 yards shorter than my 3-wood, or a 3-wood that goes 7 yards shorter than my driver. And he's like, it's just one of those clubs. Like, you just feel like you have really nice control. It's got the old school, simple look to it. And he's just like, I just really like the club. And
that's awesome.
he was like, I only have one backup. So he's like, I hope I don't crack any. And I was like, you want me to let our Instagram users know that if they got an extra to send it your way? He's like, yeah. I think he wants to keep playing the club, and he's a little bit nervous about cracking it and not having a backup. And eventually Grant Hirschman's going to run out of these things if he just keeps giving them away to everyone. So
I mean, that's awesome that he just, like, you know, found it's got the old school original Ahina, Diamana Ahina shafting, which was the Diamana White, the low launch, low spin boy, and an 80-gram X. But man, that's a legit setup. And the funny thing is, you say like, oh, he's kind of worried about stuff going too far or whatever. I mean, he's playing a Sim Max 3-wood, which was a pretty big cannon. I mean, it wasn't the Thai one, but it goes a long way. And he plays some pretty big boy shafts for being a guy who he doesn't claim hits it very far. I mean, he's playing Hulk greens, in 6.5, 6.5 flex. He's playing, hazardous blacks in 6.5s. I mean, he's playing some big boy stuff. But that 5-wood it's just interesting, and now it makes me want to go like find one and see, what's the magic to it? Because I never played 5-woods, so
yeah, I've never been a big fairway wood guy. I know I've hit the club a couple different times, but I don't have one in my possession. And the more I see it, and the more we talk about it, the more I'm like, all right, it's time. Let's see what all the fuss is about. Let's revisit. I mean, Scotty Scheffler, he had a real difficult time getting it out of the bag.
Yeah.
And a guy like Max McGreevy, the way he talks about it, he's just like, I love this club.
I mean, you can get one. They've got I found a right-handed one here on eBay. It's got a regular flex shaft, but whatever, you're going to put your own shaft in it. $101.
Really?
Yep.
I might have to scoop that up before this podcast goes live so no one out scoops me.
Yeah, there's not many though. I'll tell you what, there's not a ton of them out there. That's for sure. There's one for $25.
No way! What an absolute steal!
It's only got an hour left on the. There's only been one bid. It's got 1 hour left.
I'm gonna wait till there's 8 seconds left. Coming in,
just cop it.
Yeah, steal that thing.
But it's amazing, and like you said, they're eventually gonna go away because the faces are gonna get cracked. Yeah. They're going to fall apart. Like, these guys eventually are going to have to play something different, but it's funny that there's that much love for a club like that. And I get it. I mean, I'm starting to fall in love with the 7-wood a little bit, so I get it.
Yeah, you are. Okay, so I just got one quick little topic left, and then we can get out of here. And you can go enjoy your Cinco de Mayo.
You mean going to sleep? my Cinco de sleep?
So I just asked Max Homa. I don't even know why I asked him this. But for some reason I was like, I think Max is going to have like a decent answer for this. He plays golf in Scottsdale. I'm sure he has a bunch of buddies who are just getting into the game. So I asked him, his tips for beginning golfers. I was like, if someone approaches you, like one of your buddies, like, hey, I'm going to get into golf, help me out, Max. So, I guess I'll just read his answers real quick. I think that'll be the best way to go about this.
Not just read it.
So he said, I guess if they said they were getting into golf and not just playing a round of golf, I would say to go get a lesson. Just because I think some direction would help. So that they have some sort of plan in place to get the golf ball in the air. Typically what I tell people is to go have fun and then see if you catch the bug. And I was like, what about golf clubs? Like, what do you recommend? He said, I think just going to get fit, like, it doesn't even matter where it's at or who does it. Roger Dunn, Dick's, like, anywhere that just kind of loosely fits golf clubs, it doesn't have to be, like, super in-depth and get every single spec right. He's just, like, got to do a club fitting, make sure you get the right stuff if you can. He's like, if you can't, basically just buy the biggest irons that you possibly can. He's like, buy game improvement irons. Don't make it more difficult. Make it as easy as possible. And then I was like, obviously you roast swings on Twitter, and you do have one of the best swings on tour. Like, what are some of your keys and, some advice you can offer to amateurs just with the swing? He said rhythm. Mostly just rhythm and tempo is what he thinks about in his own game. And he's like, once you get the rhythm and tempo right, you can let the body carry the club head to the ball. He said, when I get off, I'm fast. Most people are too fast in general. I don't think too many people are too slow. So he's like, especially even if you don't get a lesson, the most important thing is to feel like it's nice and smooth and no real burst into it. Kind of just keep it rhythmic and have fun.
Hey, I think that's good. I mean, that's good advice. I love the buy the biggest irons you can find. That's awesome.
I know. Pretty true though.
You think, because you think about it. Remember when you decided to go lefty, and you were like, oh man, okay, I need to find a set of irons, and we started going on every used site, eBay, whatever. We were looking for irons, and it was like, what should I get? And you ended up getting some shovels, but it helped. I mean, you learned to play on those. You hit them pretty darn well, and by the end of it, you're probably getting to the point where you probably wanted to get something different, or were leaning that way. But when you're first starting, those things probably helped you play better than your skill level at the time.
I mean, my initial testing as a lefty, I don't know if you remember this or not. No. It didn't go particularly well. But I was looking down at the club. I felt like I was really far away from it. I felt like the shaft was way too long, way too stiff. The club's just too small. I felt like it was just way too far away from it. And I was like, nuts, when we get my irons, I need huge irons. And they were really short too, which I liked. I didn't feel like it was impossible to make contact. I was kind of right on top of the ball. I had some super regular flex shafts. I think they were actually probably senior flex. Super whippy. So that would be my recommendation for a beginner. Get a huge club head, a very weak shaft, and go basically as short as possible, because I think you're just raising the percentage or the odds of actually making contact with the golf ball.
No.
I'm not a professional fitter. I don't know if you necessarily want to take my advice, but I started over from the opposite side of the golf ball, and those are the things that really helped me a lot. And get a wedge with a lot of bounce, so that you could just kind of go after the golf ball and not worry about chunking the crap out of it.
Yeah, you had that big Callaway Sure Out.
Yeah, the Sure Out,
big old sole on.
Yeah, with about 65 degrees of bounce on it.
But I think everything you got was regular flex.
Yep.
Just because, like you said, it was a little whippy. It was easier to turn it over. It was easier to get it up in the air, and all those things I think helped you score as low as you did as quickly as you did.
Yep.
If you would have went out and just bought blades with stiff shafts and all that stuff, I don't think you would have progressed as quickly as you did.
I would have been more frustrated
in that transition.
I don't think I would have progressed quickly. And it's just not as fun. When you're super not confident that you're even going to hit the golf ball, it's a long round out there to feel that way. Just get clubs or at least get one go-to club. Buy one 7-iron that's super oversized. That it's when things go really south, you can kind of you got something where you could at least put the club head on the golf ball. And what helped me a lot too was just packing a ton of lead tape on the heel, so that I could reduce that slice. I was just like every other beginner. I was slicing the ball off the planet and kind of packing lead tape and changing the CG with the setup. I mean, these things can actually go a long way. And beginners sometimes they'll be like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. I can't even hit the center of the face anyway. What's the difference?" It's that's kind of the point. You're not hitting the center, so let's try to get you closer to the center more consistently. And there are ways to do that with shaft length, CG, club style, club head. You don't even have to necessarily change your swing.
No, not at all. I mean, you went in there with zero lessons, anything, and just figured it out. And
I couldn't even make a swing change if I wanted to. I didn't have enough control over my body. Yeah.
But I mean, but like you said, having stuff that was forgiving enough that it would go with your swing flaws and all that. I mean, it did. It was a meteoric rise in your game, which was pretty impressive.
I might have to break the lefty clubs out soon, but
the old Diablos.
Yep. So that'll do it for the Wells Fargo podcast from Maryland. Well, I guess I'm not actually in Maryland anymore, but
no.
Huge shout out, Greg Moore. Happy birthday. He's at PGA43 on Instagram, and I think that's his handle on Twitter as well, so blow him up. Wish him a happy birthday. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Belated birthday.
Yep.
It was earlier in this week, so everyone's late, but they didn't know.
Whatever.
They didn't know. It's not their fault.
I didn't even know.
Yeah. So wish him a happy birthday, and that'll do it.
Follow us on Instagram, please.
Follow us on Instagram. We're
TG2WRX.
There you go, TG2WRX.
TG2WRX.
Or follow the main account at GolfWRX, and plug time's over. And so is the podcast.
All right.
That was two guys talking golf. We'll see you next week.